What's going on, everybody? What we have here, I'm trying post-game narration as opposed to live. It allows me to record every match a lot easier, but obviously, I don't know, it's different. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. So anyway, I'm looking at my hand, and I usually have a rule where I say never keep a one-land hand, but I found with Goblins, I play really risky with it. Especially if you're going second, you get an extra card to draw. That's the advantage of going second as opposed to just going first being brokenly unfair. So it works out well. I top a land on my first turn, which is great. But as you can see, I had multiple 1-drops, a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a powerful 4-drop. So I had a great curve with tons of great creatures. I'm like, you know what? Let's go with it. And this looks like it's against Pack Instincts, which is a big green deck. And it's a tough matchup for Goblins. For that matter, I think half the decks are a tough matchup for Goblins, but whatever. So there's general rule of thumb that you want to use all your mana every turn if you can, and thus I'm kind of stuck in the situation here. It's like, do I want to play my Ember Hauler or do I want to play the Goblin Guide? But then I realize I have other 1-drops, and obviously you just go with the Goblin Guide plus extra 1-drops, so that, you know, no-brainer in that regard. Goblin Guide, obviously, he's good and bad, but you pretty much have to use him. Goblins have to get there as soon as possible. So, Balloon Brigade. A lot of people I've noticed in their deck list don't include Balloon Brigade, but he needs to be there. He's just that awesome. I've won games with him alone. And boom, there's the Leatherback Baloth that Goblins hate so much. It doesn't have any abilities, but it's a 4/5, which means it's really big. And it's for the cost of 3, so essentially being 4/5 for the cost of 3 is its ability, which Goblins has a very tough time getting through. So it pretty much puts a gigantic shutdown on me unless I can find some way to trick him into taking extra damage, or, you know, something along those lines. But if he wanted to just sit there and wait the game out, that's going to be advantage him. So this turn there's nothing I can do. But I'm still stuck on 2 land. If I had a 3rd land, I'd be able to make some progress. I could cast my Chieftain, which makes all my Goblins stronger, and then obviously things get easier in that regard from there. So, but this is what green does. Like, once you get up to a high mana count, you just play fat dude after fat dude after fat dude, and it's tough, man. So I'm looking at, or it's still his turn. He's not wanting to attack. I don't know why he's not attacking. He's just afraid. A lot of people are afraid of Goblins for whatever reason because it's so fast and deadly and it can just come out of nowhere. I've been down 19-1 in a game and come back in 1 turn and dealt 20 points of damage out of nowhere. So because of stuff like that, people are afraid and they like to not attack, but in that case, he's got the advantage. He's got to just swing with the Baloth. And now I'm thinking, okay, Gem Palm, I can cycle him and deal 4 points of damage, but he's got a 4/4 and a 4/5. So this is where I need to trick him into seeing if I can make something happen. So I'll attack with one guy. If he blocks with his 4/4, that's fine. I'll just kill his 4/4, no big deal. But I'm trying to get him to block with the Baloth. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He blocks with the 4/4, but hesitates. He takes it back, and then he puts it back up again. I'm like, well, I'm not just going to let my creature die for nothing. So I'm still going to cycle it mid-combat, kill your dude. I'm not going to deal a point of damage that way, but I need to kill these guys one way or another. Whichever one it is, they all need to go. So he draws a card. He thinks. At any point, he's got 5 land, so he can start dropping a lot of big fatty creatures if he wants. But instead, he's going to show me Primal Bellow. And as he's selecting a target, he cancels it, which is really stupid. Make sure you know what you're going to do before you do it, before you commit to it. Like in chess, there's the rule called touch move. If you touch a piece, you must move it, unless you clarify that you're just adjusting the piece in its square. So essentially what he did is he touched his piece and showed me Primal Bellow, and then took it back. So then I knew he had it, but then he just wasted it anyway. So now that he's casted it, I'm not going to want to take all that point of damage that he's going to dish out. So I'm going to block it with something. I haven't decided what yet. I'm going to end up blocking it with Goblin Guide, but if he were to have attacked first, I would have taken the damage, and then you cast Primal Bellow after I don't block it. and then I would have taken, what, 9 points of damage, I think? 11? It would have been 11, that's right. I would have taken 11 freaking points, I think. Maybe it is 9. I can't tell. It's all fuzzy. Yeah, see, if I record live, I can see the screen. Post-narration, it's really, really fuzzy, and I can't tell what the hell's going on. But instead, I took nothing, so that's definitely a mistake on his part. I'm still short freaking land, though, and it's really starting to bother me. And now that he's just starting to mass out fat creatures after fat creatures, I gotta start worrying about actually blocking and, you know, not taking too much damage. But I'm looking at his guys. He still has that 4/5, and he's got this 2/2 creature that gets bigger if you attack. So I know I need to kill him before he attacks, which I can do with my creature who's now second on the left, that purple-looking guy. Yeah, see there I'm checking to make sure when does he get bigger. So I know that I can sacrifice my guy, and I'll be able to kill him before he attacks, which is exactly what I'm going to do. But what I'm going to do instead, first of just killing it now, I'm going to attack with my creature, because he's not going to want to block. So that way I'll get 2 points of damage in, and then I'll sacrifice my creature to kill it. So I'll get both of what I want. So, you know, Goblins is really basic, how you just want to charge everything, beat to the face, as much damage as possible, but it can be very intricate if you really want it to be. So I'm just waiting for him to proceed to his next phase, that he ends his main phase. So instead he taps out all of his mana to gain a bunch of life. So especially now that all of his land is tapped, I can definitely kill it. I should have actually killed it last turn before I gave him a chance to untap his land, so that he couldn't cast anything. This way I gave him a chance to have a Primal Bellow. So that was a mistake, but I don't know. You still want to wait for instance, but I should have just done it when I knew he couldn't respond. But whatever. So he attacks. I'm at 20 life. I'm just going to take it. I have no problem taking a bunch of damage and going down to 3 or 4 life. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. So by him dealing 4 points of damage and leaving him... Yeah, see, you could hear me right there being like, come on, just give me a third land. By him attacking and leaving himself open, it's going to allow me to get some points of damage in there. So I just have to think on what exactly I want. I can't read that text, unfortunately. I wish I knew what he was saying. At some point he talks about how he's like, oh, it's really close. And I'm just like, it's not close at all. All I need is a third land. You know, and I'm just kind of talking stuff to make him feel comfortable, when really I feel perfectly comfortable right now. I feel like I have the advantage. But I'm aware that he could just start dropping a fatty at any time. Once he gets to 6 land, all of his best creatures are available to him, and there's his 6 land. So if he draws something really big and fat, I'm in trouble. But it looks like he doesn't have any, which is obviously really good. So he's going to continue to cast more guys. He attacks, which in this case I think it's a mistake, because now I've played my double strike creature, which if he deals damage to the player, I'll get multiple creatures in play. He's the one on the far left, if you guys can't tell. See, that's another thing. If I'm playing live, I can zoom in on the cards that I'm talking about at the time. But now that I'm doing it post, not only are my thoughts different, I can't actually zoom in on the card to show you it. But the one on the left with the purple symbol on it, if he hits a player, I'll get multiple creatures. So he shouldn't have attacked there, because all I have to do is draw a shock or something to kill his 3/2, and then I'll get all of my creatures through. I'll get multiple creatures into play for free. But of course I'm not drawing a land, and I'm not drawing a shock, and I'm, you know, just stuck here. But I'm gonna do the best I can with what I got, really. So, or no, I finally did draw my land, but I'm thinking on how I want to proceed with it, because I want to kind of fool him and make him think I didn't draw any land, and then proceed from there. But because I have a chieftain who pumps everything up, that also really kind of changes how I need to proceed. But because he's at that 6 land mark and can stop dropping fatties as soon as possible, I feel like getting Arms Dealer out there is going to be more important than dropping the chieftain. Even though that would get me more damage, I would have been able to swing in for a lot of points that turn, which is exactly what Goblins wants. I need to make sure that I can start killing his dudes before it gets out of hand. So now he's starting to attack with multiple guys and leaving up some defense. I can't take too much because he could just start trouncing me at any moment. It's not uncommon for that deck to just pop out a 13/13 creature in one swing with some sort of way to pump him up or something. So I block the damage, lose a... Okay, so I have no idea why there's a black screen here, because when I play the raw video file itself, there's no black screen. But anyway, we're not missing too much. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we didn't miss a thing. I drew a card and I thought about it for a second. So, all that I'm looking at now is how I've got 4 goblins out here, and I see that this gem palm guy, I can cycle him to deal damage based on the number of goblins I have. So, being able to cast a 1-drop that I left in my hand, I'm able to deal 5 damage and finally take care of one of those big fat 4/5 creatures. And now that it's gone, I can attack and get through with my double strike guy and get multiple damage or multiple creatures into play for free. And that's pretty much going to put the game in the bag for me, I think. Right there I'm just analyzing, like, what am I going to put into play? How is that going to affect things? Because I still want to leave something for blocking just in case. So this is important. Because of the double strike, it deals first strike damage and then regular strike damage. So on the first strike damage, I put in the Goblin Chieftain, which then gives all my goblins +1/+1 before the regular strike comes in, which essentially gives me free damage. I attack with, what, 3 creatures? So that gave me 3 extra points of damage, which is awesome. So make sure you do that first. And right there, I was about to declare the game over in chat, and then he put 7 wolves out there. I'm just like, hold on. So I'm just having to pause and think for a second. But once I analyze it, I count the number of guys I have, which is, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? I don't know, I think I miscounted because they're all dark. But once I look at that board position versus his, I mean, he just made 7 wolves, and he's got the other, so he's got 8 blockers out there. I'm just looking, let me recount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I have an advantage of 2 creatures for the moment, but I've also got, the Goblin Chieftain gives all my guys haste, so I can cast 3 more creatures this turn, which will be able to attack, which will give me an advantage of 5 creatures on the field. That's board position at its finest. Attack with everything. I should be able to go from there. I'm just weighing my different options, counting the math, counting the creatures, seeing how much, direct damage can I deal and what's my best way, and really just swing with everything. He can't block at all. Enough points of damage, win the game. Awesome. So all I needed was that 3rd freaking land, and then I was able to pump dudes out there. I'm just double checking everything, counting everything. He's got 8 creatures. I have more than 8 creatures. Swing with the swing with the fences. Swing for the fences. Way to go. He's going to be unable to block at all. And alright, so this is really just, I think it was a good match because it's a, green does really well against me. Or does really well against goblins, I should say. And he got a couple of his, really big 4/5 creatures out there, but I was able to hang in long enough and make plays at the right time with, the way I cycle things and the way I tricked him into blocking a couple of times. And even though I was mana screwed in a bad matchup, I was still able to somehow find a way to make things happen. So, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. Catch you later. Peace.